All right, Andrea, we are ready to begin.
Oh, good. Hello and welcome to Unity of Fredericksburg. My name is Andrea Giel and I am pleased to welcome you, all of you, to our weekly online gathering. At Unity of Fredericksburg, we are advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. Our speaker today is the new minister at Unity of Fredericksburg, Reverend Cheryl Fair. Our time today will feature the annual White Stone ceremony. And now here's Reverend Cheryl.
Hello, friends, and welcome. Welcome to the weekly time with Unity of Fredericksburg here online. And it's an interesting time of the year. The holiday season is complete. We will be completing it and putting a bow on it here today with our White Stone ceremony. So I'm wondering how it feels for you. How does it feel for you to have the holiday season complete? Do you feel relief? Are you ready to just move on with the new year? Are you one of those people that kind of gets all the decorations down and moves on quickly? Or does it feel kind of a bit sad, as if you would like to stay in that cocoon of sparkling lights for a little bit longer? It's a process that lasts several weeks, and here at Unity of Fredericksburg, we have been doing some spiritual exploration that began all the way back in November. And as we all know, those kinds of explorations can take time and can also it just takes time for us to percolate and move on to new ways of being. So it does take a while. We might say, we've been talking about the holiday season for weeks and weeks, and yes, that's true. But let's review. Let's just kind of review what we've been doing since back in November here at Unity of Fredericksburg. And for those of you who are new with us today, you can appreciate this quick review. So back in November, we started talking about our power of elimination or power of release. And this is where we start looking at our lives as we have them now and what it's time to let go of. What thoughts and beliefs and activities it's time for us to let go and move on. And we begin with that contemplation around Thanksgiving time, that contemplation of kind of like we look to nature for some guidance of like a tree letting go of a leaf and going into that hibernation phase. And so then we moved into Advent, the 4 weeks of Advent. And with that model of how nature does the change of the seasons, we talked about leaning into the darkness as in taking quiet time for reflection and contemplation, leaning into the darkness by really looking at the darker elements of our lives, seeing what they are, what they're about, knowing that from the perspective of our divine nature, we're always safe and we always have the capacity to work with ourselves and change our minds about things. So we looked into the darkness. We acknowledged all the darkness that's happened in our past, and we spent that time in peaceful contemplation, allowing love to lead the way through that process and inspired by the resilient power of life that we have, that is expressing wholeness and healing at all times, that is showing us new life and new beginnings, even when things appear to be dark and appear to be lifeless, that life is still bursting forth all the time. So then came Christmas Day, and Christmas does not just come and go in one day. I'm sure we've all heard of the 12 days of Christmas. Well, that actually starts the day after Christmas. and continues through for 12 days. So last week, we were still in the midst of the 12 days of Christmas when we came together and welcomed the new year with our annual burning bowl ceremony led by Reverend Pamela Mann. And that's when we really stepped into that action phase of letting go by spending some time in meditation, spending some time identifying those thoughts, ideas, beliefs that we need to cut loose in order to move forward into a new year and create space for a new beginning. So we were letting go of things like fear and beliefs around limitation and lack. So we did all that last Sunday. And then during the week was one of my favorite parts of the holiday season, and that is the 12th day of Christmas, also known as Epiphany. It's one of my favorites because in the traditional Christmas story, Epiphany is the day when the Magi, the wise men, arrive at the stable where the little family is still, learning their way with each other, with the new baby and all of that. And what it means, that arrival of the Magi in our consciousness, is that we have been through all of this process that we've been talking about. We've done the burning bowl and we've let go of things and created space. And into that space comes our wisdom, our divine wisdom. And the power of wisdom we talk about in Unity is an evaluative power. It's the power that we have to see, to sense about all aspects of our lives, whether it's thoughts, feelings, circumstances, to be in there and see, is this for my highest good or not? It's that capacity to look at things, evaluate things, and as we're getting ready to step into this new year experience, our wisdom is there to say, aha, this is for your highest good. This is for your highest good. It's expanding that landscape in circumstance. And so I love the timing of this year where we had the burning bowl, then there was the 12th day of Christmas, Epiphany, and now here we are arriving at the white stone ceremony. This is what I feel like is the natural sort of rhythm to sort of conclude this whole process that we've been going through. So however you feel about the holidays and whether or not you feel ready for the new year, this time today creates just sacred time for us to just notice where we are here and now. So much of our lives is spent being in our human nature, in our human brains, all about the doing. So today we have time to pause with all of the doing and lean into just being in this moment. To pause with all the talking that we do and lean into listening. To thank all of the feelings that have been coming up all through the holiday season and thank them for their guidance and open to a deeper level of being in our heart space that's beyond the human emotions and into that space of oneness. So we are going to have some time to just quiet all of the stimulation of the outer world and of human nature and of our own brains and turn to our divine nature. The essential teachings of Unity tell us with our first principle that we acknowledge the energy of the universe, that which we sometimes call God or all that is or divine mind, whatever your name for it was. I had one of my ministers who has now passed away that I learned a lot from. She said when she first started out in Unity, she wasn't comfortable with the word God at all, so she called it peanut butter. So whatever it is that you call that divine energy is a benevolent energy that is present everywhere, all the time, in every circumstance. And the second principle of Unity tells us that energy of the universe is present within each and every one of us, expressing at the point of each and every one of us. So our activity today, we are pivoting our attention to that divine nature, listening to what our divine wisdom has to say. And it's a moment of opportunity. So getting ready for our white stone ceremony. You'll need a couple of supplies, and hopefully you have them nearby. But if not, you'll need a small stone. I have like a little white tile here. Let me put it where you can see it, because you can't see it in front of my virtual background, can you? Look at that. So there it is. It's a white tile. And if you aren't prepared with that, don't worry. If you can grab just a sheet of paper for right now, and a writing utensil. Your best option for writing on a stone is going to be a pencil. But if you don't have that, just use whatever you do have. And for right now, as we move further into it, I ask you to just kind of hold that stone or that piece of paper in your hand, or put it in your pocket, or, tuck it into your shirt or something, so that you're physically in contact with it, because we're just kind of connecting with the energy, the earth like energy of the stone, as we talk about what is the white stone ceremony, and what are its origins. The white stone ceremony is a tradition in Unity, but ceremonies around this and meaning around white stones historically go all the way back to the Roman Empire. When a person was released from prison, they were given a white stone that they would carry with them everywhere. If you think of it as kind of like identity papers, like a photo ID or something. They were given a white stone, and that way, if they were questioned about anything, they could show the white stone, and the white stone let everyone know that they had. It's white. It was a clean slate, and it also indicated that a person was also entitled to all of the benefits of being a Roman citizen, which was very important at that time. So there's a historical basis to rituals and meaning around white stones. And there's also a scriptural basis for what we do in Unity. And the scripture comes from Revelations 2:17. Here's what it has to say. Whoever has ears, let them hear what the Spirit says to the churches. To the one who is victorious, I will give some of the hidden manna. I will also give that person a white stone and a new name written on it, known only to the one who receives it. So that's from Revelation. So let's break that down a little bit and bring it to where we are right here, right now. So that first sentence, whoever has ears, let them hear what the Spirit says to the churches. Now, the word that sticks out for me in that is the word churches. Like, what do you mean churches? And one of the references that we use in Unity for metaphysical Bible interpretation, there are two reference books. One is called the Revealing Word. One's called the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. So I looked up the word churches for you. And what does that mean? It means consciousness. So let them hear, not with human ears, but at the level of consciousness, what the Spirit is speaking to consciousness. So that's the first step in our process today. So I'd like for you to affirm after me, let my ears be open. Holding on to that stone or piece of paper, repeat after me, let my ears be open. And then on to the next part of the scripture. To the one who is victorious, I will give some of the hidden manna. Victorious. That sounds like a very serious word, doesn't it? Sounds like we're engaged in warfare or combat of some sort. But let me just ask you this. Is there anyone here who has not overcome something in the past year, in your life, in the past day? Whether it's a challenging circumstance in your body, in your outer life, have not we all overcome something? So we are all, this has to do with all of us. We've all overcome circumstances, and there is a gift, some of the hidden manna for all of us in this time here together. So affirm after me, I am open to inspiration. Once again, holding your stone or your piece of paper. Say this with me, I am open to inspiration. Okay. So moving on to the last part of this scripture, it says, I will also give that person a white stone with a new name written on it, known only to the one who receives it. So part of our process here today in meditation is that we'll be seeking, looking for, affirming that we'll receive some sort of inspiration in the form of a word or something, and that we will write it on the stone. That's the activity of our ritual here today. But I want to point out this here, known only to the one who receives it. So I encourage you to not feel pressured at all to share what comes to you, that it's perfectly fine for you to keep it to yourself. Now, if you want to share, that's great. And I also encourage you to accept whatever shows up, even if it is confusing and doesn't make sense to you right now, because maybe, there's something coming in the future. So whatever shows up, hold it, cultivate it, shine some love on it and allow it to grow in your consciousness. If you do choose to share, I suggest you share it with a person or people who will support you with whatever it is, no matter what. So, don't be sharing it with your family member who always has to play devil's advocate with you. Don't be sharing it with that person. Feel free to keep it to yourself, to have it known only to you. This is you and your divine nature in conversation. So affirm with me this. I am aware, enlightened, and grateful. So holding your stone, let's do that one more time. I am aware, enlightened, and grateful. All right. So as we prepare to go into the meditation, we are opening our awareness, creating space to receive. Now, the inspiration may come in the form of a word, kind of a word that may guide you for the year to come. It may come in the form of sort of a title or a role, as in, moving into a new role in your life, whether it's in career or family or something like that. It might, depending on how your brain works, it might show up as an image, a picture, right? And it might not show up at all this morning. It might be that we are creating space and it will show up when it's time for it to show up. It might come later. So please relax and be with ease with however it is that it shows up today. I also encourage you to release any attachment to expectations around, like last year I got this really great word, or this happened, or just release any expectations and allow whatever happens to happen. Any previews that you think, I think it's going to be this, just set that aside, because you don't know what it is that you might discover here today. And if you have something come through that you're finding confusing, feel free to talk with your higher self and ask for confirmation. You can ask for a sign. Relax, be at ease with whatever shows up, and welcome whatever gift shows up. And just know that at every point along the way, you are safe, you are connected, you are divine. And as whatever shows up, and it might have already shown up for you, just take your writing utensil and write it down. record it on the stone. So right now we are going to move into the meditation time. I'm going to turn off my camera and show us a picture here to look at so that you have something to focus on for those of you who are oriented towards, like have something to look at. We're going to go there. Here we go. All right, so let us start as we always do with a couple of deep breaths, relaxing the body, quieting the mind and opening the heart. Feel the gentle pressure of your feet on the ground and feel the stabilizing energy of the earth supporting you. Focusing on your belly and your lower back. Affirm your inherent powers of release, life, strength, and order. Allowing your gut intuition there in your belly to be open and ready to receive. Focusing on your upper torso. Affirming your inherent powers of wisdom, love, and dominion. Allowing your heart space to be open and ready to receive. Moving your focus now to your head, affirming all of the divine powers that reside there in your head space, your imagination, faith, zeal, will, and understanding. Allowing your human intellect to quiet down and open up to divine nature. Let us dwell here, listening, fully present, and open to inspiration in the stillness of the silence together right now. In this space of stillness, I encourage you to acknowledge any messages coming through for you from your divine nature, and to write that on your white stone. As we begin slowly and gently to bring our focus back to the here and now, back to the body. Take a moment now in the stillness to make note of any inspiration that has come forth. Any guidance that shows up, we greet it and welcome it. We accept it, even if its meaning is not clear. And as we begin to come to a close with our time together, we dwell in gratitude for this sacred time. Gratitude for the gifts of our divine nature, and gratitude for this sacred time together. And as we close this time together, let us affirm together, I am grateful. Let's say it 3 times. Put your hand on your heart, friends, and let's say, I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. And so it is. That is it for our White Stone ceremony for 2023. And I am going to hand it over to Andrea once again.
For those of you watching on YouTube, thank you for joining us for our weekly broadcast. Please like this video and subscribe to the Unity of Fredericksburg YouTube channel so you can find us easily again next Sunday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Our time together continues every week on Zoom with music, prayer, and interaction. If you would like to join us for the full experience on Sunday mornings, send an email to info@uofva.org to receive the Zoom link. Shifting my perspective from the